Hello and welcome to the Profitable Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Rich, and as the founder of the Bold Life Movement and a fellow coach for more than 7 years, I know the challenges that many of you face when launching or growing your coaching business. And I'm here to pull back the curtain on the coaching industry and help you overcome roadblocks to make the impact you were born to make. Each week, I'll be interviewing successful coaches from every corner of the industry to share exactly how they have managed to generate massive impact and income. From strategy to psychology, we cover it all. This show is presented to you by Transformation Academy, a global marketplace of courses and coaching certifications. So whether you are already part of our epic community or you're brand new to this show, if you're ready to learn what it takes to turn your passion for service into a profitable business, then keep listening. You are in the right place. Welcome back to the Profitable Coach Podcast. This is episode 38 with Terez, Firewoman, Hartmann. And today's episode, we are chatting all about the art of allowing. Terez has really positioned herself in the industry as someone who practices what she preaches when it comes to manifestation, being in alignment, and really allowing the universe to deliver what it is you desire in ways that you never could have imagined. So if you are someone who resists the pushing, the effortful, the sometimes strategic side of building your coaching business, then this flowing, allowing, aligned conversation today is going to be for you. And if you want access to all the show notes that we talk about, head over to theprofitablecoach.com/038. Without further ado, please welcome the one and only Terez Hartmann. Hello and welcome back to the Profitable Coach Podcast. I am joined today by the radiant Terez Firewoman Hartmann. Terez, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you, bold life goddess?
I love it. This is a very fun coming together because Terez has been inside of and adjacent to the Transformation Academy community for years now. And now we both have run some live programs with this community, and it's so fun to get to bring even more of her art of allowing, her fabulousness to the TA community. So Terez, I would love for you to share what was the initial spark, the initial catalyst that showed you this is a path you want to walk down. The coaching world is something you want to enter, and inside it's right for you, and it's like a must.
Well, just like everything that's ever been truly meaningful and valuable in my life, it really came to me. Even as a child and a young adult, people just wanted to talk to me about things. They wanted to bounce things off of me and say, you seem to be so positive, and you seem to, just have this energy and this flow about you, how do you see this? What would you do? So it was like, I was wondering. And at one point it's interesting because I almost pursued a degree in psychology. I came very, very close to continuing down that path until I was actually pulled in the direction of music and then later personal development. And it's just this merging of disciplines. And it's so wild because even my first clients and opportunities that ever came to me, it was literally people contacting me out of nowhere. I wasn't advertising. This was even before, believe it or not, social media and such. And there was no posting. There was no sending a million emails. It was just me showing up as me and being the authentic version of myself. And people were feeling that energy. And they said, hey, would you coach me? Hey, would you work with me? And it's like, what? Okay. And it's wild because as a person who's very multifaceted, and like a lot of you guys out there, you probably, like me, are also very diversified. And I'm sure, Kimberly, you most certainly are, that you do lots of different things. And because as a career, as a professional musician and songwriter, in addition to creating courses, and at one point pre-COVID, I was also hosting retreats, always had a bazillion things going on. So for me, the greatest challenge was always about carving out the time to be able to coach. And it was wild because once things finally chilled out after the whole COVID experience, and things also, I had a personal journey with my family that, we may or may not talk about today. That was in the inspiration for my courses regarding Onward, Upward, and Forward, and Focus Mastery and Breakthrough Life Coach certification. But once that finally got to a peaceful place to where I could really reclaim my schedule again, I was just talking to a girlfriend one day on this little app called Marco Polo. I don't know if you're familiar
Oh
with
yes,
it.
I know Marco Polo.
Yeah. It's a great way to like stay in touch with your people. And I've even used it with clients. It's really
I
cool.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I said, it's been so long since I've been creating my courses and such, because I've schedule wise coaching has been one-on-one, has just been impossible for me. But you know what? Things have changed. I think I'm ready. Let me just start. Just give me, maybe just one client just to get started. I think I'm ready for that. And I was just talking to a friend. I did not talk to anyone else. I did not post anything. And within a week, one of my students from my Law of Attraction Life Coach Certification course says, I took your course. I love your energy. Are you coaching? And I was like, as a matter of fact, I should. And
Funny you should
honestly,
ask.
funny you should ask, Ellen. Yes. And it's kind of astonishing that and for me, and I know this is very different than what a lot of people have experienced. And one of the things that I always like to say is my way is never the ultimate way or the only way. It's just another way. And for me, when I have gone into hardcore strategy mode, my ROI has been like this. But when I have been like super clear, and by the way, I want to give Kimberly some props. If you guys have not seen her TED Talk, it is so fabulous. And one of the things that she talks about right off the bat is don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And with that, you have to know what you want. You have to start there. Because if you don't know what you want, life's just going to give you all kinds of data. It's like going to a buffet, and if you haven't decided that you don't like crickets and bizarre, strange things that might like roast you out or whatever, and they're all there on the buffet, and maybe it's a blind tasting. You're wearing a blindfold, and you're like, ah. So life is going to give you data. So unless you're clear about the direction you want to go, the universe is just saying, oh, you don't know yet. So, okay, let me give you freaking everything. So as soon as you get clear about what you want, it is just astonishing how bam, bam, bam. And so for me, every time in my life when I have had that clarity, when I'm like, I know for sure that I want this. And even if it's a big picture, more general thing, that's how it happened with my husband. That's a fun story we can tell if you feel like it in a little bit.
I would love to hear that. I want to just for the clarity of the audience and for you, Terez, like I just want to know what is Terez's way of allowing, because we talked a little bit already about like when I'm in strategy, my ROI plummets and it feels out of alignment. But when I'm just like living my authentic essence, things come to me. I am magnetic. So what does that look like?
Yes.
How do you do that?
So it's really giving yourself permission to do what feels good and right in the moment, to do that thing that feeds your joy. Like for me, I'm a big nature girl. I love hiking. I love being around trees. I love to travel. I love savoring really amazing food and drink. I love being with high vibe, warm, loving, friendly people that have life-giving ideas. And just every time I give myself permission to just let myself be in those kinds of experiences. And of course, as a musician, I love music. Every possible way of expressing music, like dancing, is so huge for me. Such a great alignment tool. But basically anything that I can do to raise my vibe and be in that state of alignment, and just letting myself do that as much as I physically can. It is so freaking bizarre. Like one year I had hosted a VIP retreat in Sedona, and that's one of my favorite places in the
Yes. I
freaking
lived there
universe. Oh my God.
last April for a whole month. It's so
Nice.
magical. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. And so we're in the car on the way back to the airport, and I'm just like vibing. We had an amazing time, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not emailing. I'm not on social media. Nothing's going on. And I got a phone call out of nowhere that a gentleman wanted to book several shows with me. I'm just living my life. I'm just vibing. I'm just in my flow. And it is just like, again, it is astonishing. So the contradictory point that, if you will, that I was making, that this works for me and it doesn't work for everyone. Some people flourish in the world of strategy.
Yeah.
And the biggest piece is why that works is because it's a beautiful thing, because you are living in integrity with your beliefs. So if you do believe that strategy is very important to your success, that posting the prescribed number of times on Instagram or whatever is the key to your success, if you believe that in your heart, and then you follow through and you do that, then yes, you're going to have success. Whereas for me, the evidence of my person, again, not for everybody, but the evidence from my personal life experience has shown me that when I follow my inspiration and when I'm in alignment and I do the things that feel right for me to do in the moment. And sometimes it is to send an email to my people. Sometimes it is to post something, or to go. I'm attracted to a certain gathering with people and I want to go and socialize. But the key component for me is to follow what feels light. If there's any heaviness to it, whatever it is, that's how I know that that's not necessarily moving me toward where I really want to go. So like what I like to say, if it's light, it's just right. And if it feels heavy, something isn't ready. And that something could very well be me.
I love that. Do you know your human design, Terez?
My human design. Tell me about that.
You sound like a generator. I've had a couple human design experts come on the show. It's so illuminating. But what you're describing in the way that you like turn on your magnetism and feel in alignment sounds very, very much like a generator. I'm a generator. And it's like when the way that a generator knows that they are on the right track is they feel satisfaction. So like following your joy is actually what means you are in your superpower. You are in the vortex, the flow. If we want to give credit to Abraham Hicks.
Abraham.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when it's
Love Abraham.
heavy or you're pushing or your gut response, that's where the generator gets their answers, is their gut. The gut is just like, no, I don't like this. You really shouldn't do it. Like, you're not magnetic. You're not going to call in what you want. It's not a good fit. So highly recommend. I'll link these in the show notes. Every episode that we have on human design is like mind blowing, but I'm listening to you and I'm like, oh my God, I think she's also a generator. Like, this all makes so much sense. So my next question, Terez, is for those of the people that are listening who don't have the clarity about what they want, how do they go after it? How do they find it? What would you advise for them?
Well, a lot of it is just living life and being present and paying attention to what gives you that sense of lightness and that sense of joy and that sense of fun. Like in my courses, I have lots of exploratory lists. Like, for example, my most recent course, which is Law of Attraction, Allowing True Love and Authentic Relationships Life Coach Certification. And also there's one that is Attracting Authentic Relationships for Singles. But there's a section in both of those courses called the YOU University. And it is an awesome opportunity to really explore the things that feed your joy, the things that, what I call your care and feeding, what you need to feel safe and feel okay, what your core values are, and who your favorite people are. And like sometimes a really fun, easy, simple way to start is to look at characters, for example, superheroes, animals that you really just resonate with, that you really like for no good reason. And a lot of those things those characters, those movies, those animals will give you some information about, because if you love butterflies, why? What is it about butterflies? And the thing is, whatever you see in another being is something that is a part of who you are, because everything in life is a reflection of some aspect of ourselves, even the crappy things that we might not appreciate so much, the things that really get under our skin sometimes about interactions with other people. It's like, oh, okay. Well, this is something that maybe I haven't made peace with within myself. So something I need to see is something I need to sort out. But being present in the moment to notice what gives you that nice light feeling, what gives you that sense of good energy, being willing to participate in exploratory exercises and creating lists and all of that, things like the university, and really just living your life and just noticing, again, those fun things, those movies that speak to you, those characters that speak to you, those animals that speak to you, what those qualities are, because those are qualities that clearly resonate with you, and that can help to point you in a direction. When I first met my husband, it was almost a mantra of his to say, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I like. I mean, he knew what he wanted in regards to relationship. That's one of the reasons why we were even able to come together, because if he was clueless, we would not have found each other. But when it came to like more, the bigger picture of life and his career path, he was doing work that he enjoyed at the time, but he still felt like there was more. And he's like, I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. So that's one little piece that I'll encourage you guys out there to say. If you find yourself repeating that over and over and over again, you are creating a point of attraction that will perpetuate that. Stop that shit.
Watch your language. Those people, not you. Like, watch your mantras.
Yes, exactly. So I'm speaking plain. But so one of the first steps when he and I were talking about this is like, okay, well, start in a soft place. Like, I'm open to discovering what speaks to me. I'm open to the possibility. And that's something I've heard you say as well. And I'm open to the possibility of discovering something that I enjoy, that speaks to me. And he's like, okay, I can do that. And he got his hands into different things. And my honey has always loved music. That's a given. He knows that he loves music and he loves playing with it in some way. And before we started dating, when we were buddies, and again, interesting story there, I found out that he played saxophone. Woo-hoo. And
I can tell by your hat that you like that.
Yeah. And it's funny because an ex of mine, this is horrible to say, but an ex of mine, we would joke around. I said, you know, honey, I love you so much, but if I ever left you, I'd leave you for a sax player. Oh, I didn't, but
Your intuition was like 2 steps ahead.
Yeah. How interesting that I'm married to one, right? For over 22 years this year. And so he just kept, again, sampling the buffet of life and noticing. And I would, as his witness, I would say, babe, you just lit up when you started talking about that. And having those witnesses in your life, your soul family, your tribe, oh my God, so incredibly helpful. And he's like, you're right. And he discovered that he still enjoys performing and he works with me on a regular basis. He's kind of back into it again, which is so cool. But he loves being the wizard behind the curtain, because my honey is right brained and left brain. And so the idea of enjoying the artistry that is music and pairing it with his programming mind of what he used to do when he worked in corporate and doing sound recording and mixing and mastering. When he discovered that world, and then later on, even video editing, he found his zone. He's like, I love this. I absolutely love this. This is my thing. This is it. Yes, yes, yes. And so that whole journey for him was cease and desist with the mantra that is not serving you. I just don't know. I just don't know. Stop that. Stop it. And he softened that by, I'm open to discovering. I'm open to discovering, open to the possibility of discovering what my jam is, what I do like, what I do enjoy. And then once you're there, being again present and noticing. And then if you just so happen to have a witness that can say, I caught you. You're vibing, you're glowing, you're smiling. Aha, see, that's a thing. There it is right there. I got you. And it's like, oh yeah, I am feeling good. Yeah, I must be liking this. It's because not everyone is as self-aware.
Yeah.
Like for me,
this is why we hire coaches.
Yes.
Call us out. This is why we surround ourselves with like-minded, growth-oriented individuals to reflect back to us the things that maybe we're too in the moment to see or to notice about ourselves. I literally was doing this on a call right before this. Yeah. So he's very lucky to have you.
Aw, and he, you know what, Kimberly, and he so does that for me because I so have my crackhead moments too, where it's like all of a sudden I forget every freaking thing that I've ever known, that I talk to my clients about, that I teach in my courses, because I'm out of alignment. I'm not a match to the knowledge that I have, that I know in my heart. And it's like, I'm in a fog for a little bit. And he's like, honey, hello, remember, remember this, remember this, remember this. And it's like, oh yeah. So it doesn't, and if you really think about it, every successful person, every bajillionaire that is out there, everyone that is successful in their health and well-being, in their career and financial well-being, and in their relationship well-being, they have check-in partners. They have, whether it's accountability partners, whether it's a tribe that we connect with on a regular basis. We all have that because sometimes we all get stuck in our head and we buy into those BS mind stories that come up for all of us for one reason or another. Because every thought that's ever been thought, it continues to exist. All of this mass consciousness stuff that's out there, all of this self-doubt and this fear that we have thought at some point, that other people think and have thought for bazillions of millennia, all of those thoughts are there. And so if you have a little drop in your energy, you get your blood sugar drops, you get tired, you get stressed, you overhear some goofy conversation, you run across someone ranting on social media in your feed, and that takes you down a little notch. Well, now you're in the vicinity of all that chatter. And so the key is always do whatever you can to elevate your vibe. Do what you can to cease and desist the pattern of resistance that you may have going on in the moment. And then do something that you can that's just chill, that's non-resistant in nature. Laughter is also and silliness. Oh my God, irreverence. And on that note, Kimberly's new book title, Sell Like You. I saw that.
New PR agent.
I was like, yes. I like to give props. Please.
This is getting really personal for a second, so buckle up, listeners. I was on a phone date with someone because we don't live in the same city, and we got to the part in the conversation where it's like, yeah, I Googled you. Yeah, I Googled you too. Okay, what did we learn when we Googled each other? He's like, well, I saw your new book, and I was like, oh, that's Googleable already? Like, the book isn't even out. How is it Googleable? So yeah, it's called Sell Like You, but for anyone who's listening, we already got to make this an explicit episode anyway. So thank you for the shout out. But I really want to, along the same vein, I want to recap all the amazing things that Terez just said, because we're really focusing on purpose right now inside the TA community, and like authenticity and alignment. I think that it's really important as a collective that this is where we're headed. And so the things that I hope you guys are taking notes on is give yourself the time and space to actually move through exercises like what are inside Terez's program, to do the inner work, the introspection, to give yourself that time and space to check in and say, what do I want? What do I want to create? What do I want? What do I not want? What do I not stand for? Surround yourself with people who can reflect back to you when you are lighting up, when you're not lighting up, and focus on your vibe. Follow what's fun, follow what's light, allow it to be easy. Like, how much easier can it get? How much more fun can it get? I'm totally open to it being the funnest thing I ever create, the easiest thing I ever create. So I just wanted to like recap all the amazing value bombs that Terez just dropped, because if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. So Terez, I would love to hear what are some really pivotal, and maybe your husband is one of these, what are some really pivotal things that you have called into your life because you were in that state of allowing?
Oh my gosh. So I think one of my favorite things is my husband. And when I got like in my courses, like, and it's something I've even debated getting tattooed on my body, WDYW, what do you want? Because sometimes we get with relationship stuff, especially, we get so caught up in talking about why the last relationship sucked and what we didn't like about it and why I'm never going to do that again and blah, 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 blah. And we are just keeping all that old stuff very activated in our life. And so for me, when I asked myself, Terez, when it comes to relationships, what do you actually truly want? And I wanted something that I had no living example of. I wanted two things that would, for most people, and even today, seem like they are absolute opposites on the scale. Total personal freedom and a deep connection with another human being in a long-term relationship.
Speaking my language, Terez.
And I will tell you that every relationship I had up to that point, every one of those informed me and said, you have to choose one or the other. You can't be full on you, and you can't express in the full way you want to express and be in this kind of situation. You can't follow your natural rhythms and what's calling you and be with me. And the first decision that I made is if I had to choose between those two, I am choosing my purpose. I am choosing personal freedom, because for me to be in a long-term relationship where I can't be me, where I can't flow with my natural rhythms that keep me healthy and happy and well, that I can't follow the dreams and the visions that I've set into motion, screw that.
Yeah.
I am a grown ass woman. And if I need some physical affection, if you know what I'm talking about, I can find that. Yes. I can do that. And I have amazing friends in my life that I can have that kind of, and I still to this day, that I have this deep, beautiful, intimate relationship where I can talk about anything. So it was just really cool to first really get that, have the courage to ask for this like ridiculous, impossible thing. But then instead of looking at everything else and everyone else, this is where I had to go off the grid. This is where I had to say, I want what I want. And that's that. And I am not.
Chills.
Yes, girl. So this is for you. This is for you. So you're inspiring some of this today, Miss Kimberly. So I want what I want, and I can freaking have it. And I'm going to allow that to happen when it's the right time. But I will tell you that a part of me, after all of my past experiences, was like, but I want it now, but I want it now, but I want it now, right now. What the hell?
I'm really crying.
And So one of the points in my life, and it's so funny, I had stopped dating this one guy who I was still working with. He was a fellow musician in a band that we were in at the time. I had stopped dating him, started dating a new guy. New guy turned out to be a total bonehead. And I just remember being so mad. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I want my soulmate and I want him now. I went outside and I shouted at the heavens. And so there was a gig that happened. I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, it was like within a month of that I had this gig and I had met this new guy and I had started dating this new guy. And, I'm not at that moment feeling necessarily if he's the soulmate guy, but I'm enjoying it. It's feeling really nice. And so here I am on stage, ex-boyfriend on the stage with me, new guy out in the audience. I'm like rocking out. I'm singing like a Boston or a Journey tune or something like that. At that particular point. I'm like all leathered up. I'm wearing my little bustier, my shorts, my little shiny boots, my big hair. And also, I kid you not, literally standing on a table. And while I am singing this song, whatever the song was, somehow a flash in my mind put out this question: how can it possibly get better than this? And then all of a sudden, I looked over to my right for no good reason, and this man was standing there. And as soon as I saw him, my first thought was, oh my God. And actually, and being that that we're going to put a little rating on this, honestly, first thought was, oh shit. I asked for him, Harry. I mean, I didn't even talk to the guy yet. My soul recognized him right away. But I was like, oh no, this is finally peaceful. This is brand new out here. I can't do this right now. Holy crap.
You asked for it right now.
I demanded it. And so like the story of the mom lifting the car to save her baby, my desire was so intense. I told the universe, I don't care what kind of stupid resistance I've got going on. I want it and I want it now. But here's the thing. It was not the right time because I had just started dating some other dude. And so this wonderful new man, when I ended up, he came over and complimented me and the band and all of that, and that he was a big music fan. And on his side, he was just driving down the road with the windows rolled down and he heard the music. So it was like a siren call. It was like the rock and roll Little Mermaid experience for him.
Oh my God.
It was so cool. But we talked and he said, oh, I see you have a boyfriend and all of that, but, I love the band and I really enjoy, would it be too forward for me to ask if I could get on your mailing list so I can find out, where you guys are performing? And I'm like, no. And so he became a fan of the band and a bud for almost 2 years. And so I dated like that relationship, that new guy that eventually ended. There were a couple other things that happened in between. And John and I developed this amazing friendship. And it was intimate. It was beautiful. It was wide open. I knew he would tell me about his girls that he was dating. I told him about my guys and all of this. But there was still this little seed of, what I felt when I first saw him that was there. And it was almost like there was a part of me that, because I knew what was coming, was like, no. So I turned him into I put him in the friend zone and the brother zone even. I even tried to hook him up with one of my girlfriends at one point. Ridiculous, right? Oh my God. That showed you how I had some crap of my own that I needed to sort through. But I still stuck to my guns. Like any of the guys I dated, I did not get engaged to them or move in with any of them. I was sticking to my guns of, I want these two things. For these two things need to be in place in order for me to even consider a long-term relationship. And so these other relationships just did not pan out to be that. And the last relationship was like a total bizarre breakup that everything was cool. The guy I was dating A friend of his came in from out of town. They hung out for 3 days. He came back, and a couple of things that were like, he lived on a boat. A couple of things that were on his boat that I had of mine were laying in my hallway in my apartment. I was like, what the hell? And that was like that mega contrast that made me say, I have had enough. And there's a movie out there that I really love to liken this feeling, this moment. If you've ever seen the movie Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh my gosh, so long ago.
Long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Long time ago. But there's a scene, and I won't say any of the storyline for any of you guys who haven't seen the movie because I don't want to like bust any grooves, but there's a scene where the character has this thing that she's holding in her hand and she lets go.
Oh yes, and it shatters, right?
And it's like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but she just lets go. And it's like, and what was interesting, that is exactly how I felt after that. That big piece of contrast just made me say, and what I thought I was doing at the moment, guys, was letting go of my dream. But what I actually did was I let go of the resistance that I didn't, even though I was saying out loud in so many ways that I don't need another person to complete me. I am whole as I am. I love who I am. I love my life. And I really, truly was loving my life. I was doing all kinds of cool things for myself. I was taking trips by myself, hiking by myself, going to dinner, by myself. I was having a and of course with my friends too, but I was having a great time. So I was really kind of shocked that this weird relationship kind of got in there. But I think it was just the universe kind of helping me release that last little piece of resistance that I have. So guys, sometimes when this piece of resistance pops in, or a really crummy experience that you're like, how the hell did this happen? I was in such a good place. Did not feel that I was a vibrational match. Sometimes those little pieces of contrast are actually the universe giving you a pathway that helps you to go more directly to what you want. So getting in the habit, and I forget sometimes, I totally do, but this was a note to self, a reminder, because that was a big aha for me. But getting in the habit of, even when crappy things happen, to say, the universe is helping me and may even be providing a fast track to the something that's really important to me that I've really been wanting. This might not be the coolest thing in the moment, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
I can
you.
relate
Because
to that.
releasing resistance and being in that place of acceptance, that's where you're back into that state of allowing and that state of flow. And so after that happened for me, and I'm like, you know what? I am good on my own. I love my life. I love myself. And this time, at the cellular level, I meant it. About a month after that, I met my buddy, and I was on my way to meet him. And I stopped off for some reason, following my little flow of joy and inspiration for a change, which is rare for me. I was running early, and I stopped off at a Barnes and Noble for no good reason. Just felt like I wanted to. And while I was there, I ran into this lovely woman and just started chatting with her and told her my whole relationship life story up to that moment for some strange reason. And she said, honey, whatever you do, don't close your heart, because the one you've been waiting for may be right around the corner. And I was like, that's nice. That's really nice. And so I took it with the grain of salt, but it wasn't the, oh my God, this is gonna happen. Oh, please God. It was like, it would be nice if, it would be cool if that happened. But how nice, thank you for the good vibes. I appreciate that. And I went to meet my buddy, and Kimberly, when I saw John that night, all of a sudden there was a little something extra in the air. And by the end of that night, we were just hanging out, and just to get to the end point, by the end of that night, we had our first kiss. And it was, girl, it was so magical. And after that, I mean, there's more, all kinds of stuff in between. And I talk about it actually on my website on terezfirewoman.com. There's a page called Free Tools. There's actually a few videos that tell the detailed story of how all of this went down. Yeah, it's super fun. And so a month and actually yesterday, by the way, April 10th was our kiss anniversary. So when you guys are seeing this podcast,
leave my 9 to 5 life anniversary.
Yay!
Those are
Excellent
big
things.
days. April 10th. Oh my gosh.
April 10th. Yeah. So I don't know when this is going to air. So it's not going to be yesterday, probably. But
tomorrow.
So how cool. Yeah. So how cool that, I mean, like, talk about as soon as I released that resistance and I just allowed that little tiny soft seed of hope, of possibility to trickle in, but it wasn't something that had to happen. I made peace with my life right in this moment, right as it was, exactly as it is, accepted it all, say, I love me, I love my life, I am good and complete with or without, and I freaking mean it. And I mean, holy crap, engaged a month and a half later that June, married the following year. And my honey and I have been through so many different experiences, like very intense things, like daughter passing away, both of our parents passing away, like my mom and my dad, multiple friends passing away, all like challenge on top of challenge on top of challenge. But our relationship is the thing for me that has always been rock solid. There has never been any compromise. There has never been any bullshit. We have always been 100% authentic with each other. We have always encouraged each other to follow our natural rhythms, whatever that looks like. We have never tried to control or contain the other in any way. And it really is one of the greatest gifts in my life. And every moment of every day, I am so unbelievably thank you to have John in my life. And the fact that, talk about bonus upgrade, happy surprise, that he also, on top of being a music fan, that he plays the saxophone and harmonica and clarinet and Native American flute, which is one of those things that just soothes my soul to the core.
Same.
And happens to discover that he loves to record, mix, and master music, and I'm a songwriter, and then happens to fall in love with video editing, and I create online courses. I mean, holy crap. The universe is so resourceful, people.
Yeah.
Resourceful beyond your wildest dreams. Like a very short piece that I'll tell really quick, like home story. A home we lived in a teeny tiny little like shoebox of a house in a city called St. Petersburg in Florida at one point when my honey and I first moved in together. And we found a town in our area called Safety Harbor. We just fell in love. And long story short, we decided we knew where we wanted to go. We softened we're like, when it's time, it's time. When it works, and that's cool. We had this relaxed attitude about it. Talked to a friend of mine who is a realtor. We're like, what the hell? Let's go ahead and list the house. And when it sells, it sells. Before he listed the house, he said, I already have someone that I think would be perfect for your house. And we're like, oh, cool. Give us a week to clean the house. He's like, no, they're in town and they want to come tomorrow. House wasn't even listed. And I'm like, dude, our house is a disaster. The garage, because my honey was a bit of a pack rat and still is a little bit. And the garage, girl, like to the ceiling, horrific. And like, I'm one of those, I'm like probably borderline OCD. I like things very organized.
You've made it
work. and so I was horrified. He's like, they won't care. I promise they won't care. I'm like, okay. And so we like scrambled, cleaned what we could in like less half of a day. And these people came to a house that was a disaster and they made a full price offer the same day. House never even got listed. Bada bing, bada boom. And we found another place. Like, wow. And we closed on both houses in like 2 weeks or something crazy like that. And then when it was time to move from that town in Safety Harbor, that we knew we needed more space. We needed a little more autonomy. We were in a townhouse at the time. And I got, once again, clear about what I really, the essence, the core, what I really, really wanted. And the house hunting process, like if any of you guys have seen HGTV and you've seen the house hunters, what do they usually do? They go and they look and they're like, I like this, but oh, I don't like that. I like this, but oh, this didn't work. And I don't like this. Da, 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 da. And we were watching a lot of those shows at the time. So, And so we started our little house hunting process and we're like, okay, whoa, wait a minute. We are doing that stupid thing that we yell at the television for when we see the people do that they are like, they move forward, they move backwards. Mm-hmm. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to focus exclusively on the things we like about any house we see, and that's it. And I actually brought a little notepad of like, we go to this house. Oh, fabulous light fixtures. Oh, love the color of the wall. Oh, pretty preserve. So we're winding even a little bit before that. And I know I was good. This is the short version, girl. So bear with me. Before that, my cousin, who's a northerner who hates the heat, came to visit us, said she wanted to move here. And so we're going to help her find her apartment. She's like, no. I want to move here. Your house. I like your house. I like the colors, and we're artists. So like one of our walls is purple. Another wall is orange, yellow. So it's not all beiged and grayed and nutrified out for a typical buyer. It is like crazy kooky colors. And she's like, I love the colors. She's like, you have too much shit. You need to get out. So literally
kicking you out so you can reset.
The buyer came to us, who happened to be my cousin. So once again, 2 times in a row, we never had to put our house on the market, and she paid cash for our house. That made it easy to get the new place. And then once in the process of focusing on, I like this, and this, and I talk about that. It's called the treasure hunt process. And that was actually part of my process of how I align with John that I talk about in the 2 relationship courses as well. But I decided to apply that process to the house hunting. And in just over a weekend, we found, and it was like, I actually went first. And any of you guys who've seen the old movie or the new version of Miracle on 34th Street, where the little girl sees her house and goes running to it and said, this is my house. As soon as I pulled into the neighborhood and I saw the house, Kimberly, I said in my head, this is my house. But the realtor, my buddy, who's also a friend of mine, who's amazing and has attended a couple of my retreats, she's like, all right, Terez, I know you're very open about your feelings, but if for negotiation purposes, you need to sit there. You need to keep your cool. And I'm like,
talking.
Like I can channel my inner thespian. Like I used to be in theater. I can play that role of being calm, cool, and collected. I can do it. Here we go. And I'm like, yeah, this is pretty nice. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, preserve in the backyard, check. Connected to nature, check. A dedicated room for the instruments, check. A dedicated room for the studio, check. A nice big high ceiling in the master bedroom, check. And I'm like, this is nice. Yeah, this might work. I'll have to talk to my husband about it, but yeah, this could work. And as soon as I got in the car, got in the phone, I was like, but that's for me. That is everything good. And like professionally, when my first book was published, I just had intended to write my book. I was going to self-publish because I wanted these ideas to get out into the universe. And though I have been inspired by many books and teachers earlier on in my life, and Abraham Hicks definitely being one, and that's where the word allowing came into my universe, was from being exposed to their work. From that point forward, I actually started receiving a lot of my own insights and my own tools. And I actually, I just revisited an Abraham Hicks recording recently. And I was just thinking about this whole idea of constantly being told you need to read a million things all the time. But even as a child, before I was actively reading things, I would get ideas. I would have visions of certain things. I would have certain words. I would go up to an adult and I'd be inspired to share something with them. So I've always been very connected and very intuitive. And the message that I just kept receiving throughout my life, and especially the more open I became as a sentient adult, was you are your own teacher. You have your own wisdom. Listen to it. You will receive your own answers directly. And so even though I love to read and I love, all of these things, there's a period, and I go through periods, especially when I'm creating something new, where it's like, I want the messages that I'm receiving to be clear and pure. So I'm not, because like, I'm very much a person that if I receive something that is amazing that I read in a book, like all the props that I've been giving to you today, Kimberly, and anytime I come across something, a phrase, an idea, a tool, that's amazing. I very much believe in giving credit where credit is due. Even if it's something that I say a lot, I still like to say, like, that word allowing, that absolutely came from Abraham. Or if there's some specific thing that I know came from whatever, I like to give credit to that person. That's just how I am. It's just how I roll. I like, because as a creative, that your books, your ideas, your music, your paintings, your coaching programs that come through you, these are like, what a lot of people who are not creatives don't get is, for us, these are like our babies. These are our precious children. So when we have something that is birthed through us that is very specific and very unique, it is just such, and then we recognize that in other creatives and people who are really truly tuned in. For me, like, I understand that process. So I know that, like, the bold life movement that is, and talking to you guys out there, the bold life movement, even though bold is a word that belongs to all of us, but that combination of words and that catchphrase, that brand, that is something that ever since I heard it from Kimberly, that is Kimberly. And that is who I will associate with, Kimberly. And I have my own little catchphrases and words that I use all the time that are part of me and an extension of me. But like, all of my courses have come from direct life guidance. Unless I state otherwise, I have been very fortunate to receive my own answers, to receive my own tools. And then something might waft across my space. A friend might share a video talking about psychology or talking about something else. And I'm like, whoa, I felt inclined to share this and this worked for me. And I didn't even know that this was scientifically backed up until I saw this other thing years after I received it. And so what I was just talking about with Abraham that I ran across just recently, someone was asking Abraham about a specific book. And so Abraham said, well, we actually encourage Esther not to read and not to necessarily get involved in all of these other people's things, because we want her message to be pure and we want there to be no question of where that message comes from.
Yeah.
So
I think I've seen the same video. It's really good.
Yeah. So those of us who do receive our own, and honestly, guys, that's the way that we expand the universe. That's the way that as coaches and mentors and creators and creatives in the world, that we add to the world, is by letting that authentic, unique voice and unique channel that is you to express fully. AI is a wonderful tool and it's making our lives easier on so many levels, for sure. And if you want to know how to install a cabinet or do something like that, those kinds of like generic how-to things, AI is amazing for a lot of those kinds of things. But if you want to contribute to the beauty and the richness and the expansion of your clients, of the world, of this universe. Find your unique story. Find it, be it, and express it in your own unique way, in your own unique voice. Allow yourself, because we are all the best teachers of ourselves. We are all tuned in to what works for us. That's why like my book and part of my brand is allowing your success. Not do everything exactly the same way I do. No. This is what and that's all any teacher, any one of us who's out there as a coach, a teacher, an inspirer can do. We share what works for us. Yeah. And we give you yet another way, yet another tool that you can have to play with and have one more takeaway that could be that one more little puzzle piece that you've been looking for. But anyone who is in a state of openness and alignment and is not coming from a place of narcissism or polarization will never say my way is the only way. And if you don't do it exactly my way, you are wrong, you are bad, you are incorrect, and you should be punished. Like anytime if I hear that message coming from anyone, whoever it is, whether it's a politician, whether it's a whatever, my way is the only way and that's it. Nope. Polarization is not balance. Polarization is not harmony. Polarization, and especially if it's an extreme kind of thing, it doesn't feel open, light, coming from light and coming from love. I know for sure that's not for me.
Oh, I feel like that's such a beautiful note to end on. Terez, so many, I really hope people are taking notes. So many beautiful takeaways from today's conversation, just about being in alignment with one's own desires, being of faith that what you desire desires you back, trusting the timing. I know that I'll be listening to this again and really integrating it. So where can we tell people to go get more of you? Where can they go follow you?
So the easiest way is to actually go to Terez, Terez, Firewoman.com. And the courses and other tools and such that are available are on a page called Courses Plus. And there are also some free tools and some videos that you can use to just like raise your vibe. I have a fun little affirmation video. I have some original music videos with lyrics. Like there's a song that I play every year. I play for my birthday. I play for New Year's. It's called Onward, Upward, and Forward. And that song just like totally aligns me and focuses my attention. There's like the opening line, when you look at the universe, what do you see? Everything always in motion. And part of the line, part of the chorus is onward, upward, and forward to chart a new course for my life. I'm tired of waiting. I came here to live instead of just merely survive. And when I say, like, one of my little catchphrases is to live life on fire, that's what I mean. To be fully alive. And like in the career world, to allow your success, allow the good to come to you, to keep moving onward, upward, and forward, to live and love and be and express authentically. That is what is living life on fire. And that is my passion. And that is what I love to do, because the world is so much more beautiful when you allow yourself to be you and you give yourself permission to be joyful and to thrive. It benefits everyone.
Thank you so much, Terez. So beautiful to connect with you. And I'll have all the things linked up in the show notes that we talked about today. So be sure to check those out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. And keep doing the beautiful work that you do and being the light that you are. You are amazing.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you want to get access to all the resources that we talked about, including Terez's Art of Allowing Love, head over to theprofitablecoach.com/038. And do me a favor, if you like this episode, leave us a review, hit that 5-star button, send me a message over on Instagram, and let me know what it is that you appreciated about today's conversation. You can find me at The Kimberly Rich, and you can catch more snippets from upcoming episodes at Transformation Academy Online over on Instagram. Sending you guys so much love and look forward to catching you on next week's episode.